All right, today we are staging a massive showdown between the three titans of ERP: Microsoft Dynamics 365, SAP S4HANA, and Oracle Fusion Cloud. We're going to do a deep strategic analysis of each one to see what really makes them tick. So let's get into it. Picking your next planning system, it's not just a technical decision, it's really a philosophical one. It's all about matching a system's core DNA with the day-to-day reality of your business. So the big question is, which philosophy is the right one for you?
Because let's be honest, the real answer isn't buried in some ridiculously long feature list. No, it's actually embedded in the very DNA of these systems. We're going to go way beyond the marketing fluff to really understand their fundamental architecture and what that means for your supply chain.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll meet the three big contenders. Then we're going to dissect their core philosophies. After that, we'll throw their forecasting tools into a head-to-head battle. Then we'll see how they handle the messy reality of the shop floor. And finally, we'll talk about the big stuff: cost, risk, and how you make the right choice.
Okay, let's get started and meet our contenders. And we're not just talking about software here. We're talking about three totally distinct ways of looking at the world of enterprise planning. So in one corner, you've got Microsoft Dynamics 365. We'll call it the agile user. In the other corner, SAP S for S/4HANA, the precision engineer, for people who treat the supply chain like a complex math problem. And right in the middle, you have Oracle Fusion Cloud, which is the global standard for huge, complex companies. All right, let's kick off round one, the core philosophies. How a system behaves, how fast it runs, what it demands from your team. It's all dictated by its architecture. And this, right here, is where the differences start getting really, really big. Microsoft's D365 has what I'd call a speed-first philosophy. What they did was pretty revolutionary. They basically ripped master planning out of the core ERP and put it into its own separate, super scalable microservice called planning optimization. This is a huge deal. It means planners can run scenarios in minutes, not hours or overnight. It turns planning into this interactive tool for the everyday business user, focused mainly on MRP, making sure you have the materials you need. Now, SAP's philosophy, it's all about absolute integration and precision. It's powered by their HANA in-memory database, and it's designed to solve the supply chain with, mathematical certainty. But this isn't for the faint of heart. It demands specialist planners, people who can really navigate its incredible complexity to get that unparalleled level of control. And then there's Oracle Fusion Cloud, the rules-driven global standard. This thing was built for the cloud from the ground up. Its whole philosophy is about stability and consistency, especially across massive global organizations. For Oracle, having a rock-solid, unchangeable audit trail is way more important than having the agility to tweak every little workflow. So check this out. Each system's DNA is laid out right here. D365 is super execution-friendly, built for the business user. SAP is constraint-based, meaning it plans around real-world limits like machine capacity from the get-go, and it's for the specialist. Oracle is rules-driven for that global manager. Their very architecture decides who they're for. Okay, let's move on to round two and see how all this plays out in the forecasting face-off. A bad forecast can absolutely sink a supply chain, right? And this is where these different philosophies create wildly different experiences for the user. And whoa, the user experience is just night and day. When you look at ease of use, D365 is the clear winner. It's accessible, it's integrated. SAP, on the other hand, it's incredibly powerful, but that learning curve is notoriously steep. Oracle, as usual, kind of splits the difference. So here's the hard truth of the trade-off. D365 gives you what I'd call basic to good forecasting. It prioritizes simplicity. But if your entire business lives and dies by how accurate your forecast is, then SAP is an absolute statistical powerhouse. Its advanced tools, like demand sensing, are the gold standard for complex industries that need mission-critical precision. There's just no contest there. And now for round three, the shop floor showdown. Planning with infinite capacity is one thing, but how do these systems handle the real-world chaos of machines, materials, and people? This is where a system's true colors really show. And honestly, this is a pivotal moment in our comparison. SAP's production planning and detail scheduling, or PP/DS, is the undisputed gold standard for complexity. It's like having a digital twin of your plant floor. Meanwhile, D365, this is often where it hits its breaking point. It just has limited native tools for handling really complex finite scheduling. So what's SAP's secret sauce? Well, its winning edge comes from its incredible ability to model all these intricate, real-world problems that other systems just can't touch. It uses advanced algorithms, they call them heuristics, and optimization solvers. It can manage complex sequencing, like paint color changes, with something called a setup matrix. It even handles tricky stuff like shelf life and characteristic-dependent planning, making sure that specific components get used in exactly the right way. All right, let's move on from features to the final verdict, where we're going to look at the real-world implications of cost and risk. This is where we get to the bottom line, the total cost of ownership over the long haul. And the first uncomfortable truth is about SAP. A lot of these projects struggle, and it's not because the software is bad. It's because companies totally overestimate their own data maturity. SAP pushes this rigid best practices model. And if your data isn't clean enough to fit into that box, you end up paying for 100% of its power, but can only actually use maybe 40% of it. Now, D365 has its own potential hidden cost. That modularity is awesome, but you have to watch out for data-first storage. As all your supply chain data starts to pile up, those extra storage costs, often around $40 a gigabyte per month, can really start to add up and lead to some shocking licensing bills down the road. So here they are, the final trade-offs. D365 gives you incredible speed to value, but you've got to watch out for that storage risk. SAP is a slow, very, very expensive, but unbelievably powerful investment. And Oracle, once again, is right there in the middle, a medium implementation time for a high cost, and it prioritizes configuration over deep customization. So the big takeaway here is this. Your choice has to align the system's philosophy with your company's reality. Go with D365 if you need speed and usability in a pretty standard environment. Choose SAP if complexity is your daily life and accuracy is everything. And pick Oracle if you're a global giant that needs stability and auditability more than anything else. And really, this quote just wraps the whole showdown up perfectly. D365 is for planner productivity. SAP has the deepest constraint modeling, bar none. Oracle sits right in the middle. At the end of the day, the right choice depends way more on your business's maturity than it does on the system's raw capability. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you understand their DNA, the agile user, the precision engineer, and the global standard, which one of these philosophies truly matches your business reality? The answer to that question is the key to everything.